Hi, welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to look at two methods to create kick rolls within Ableton Live. This is just my default project. The only thing I have in here is basically the bus routing, so kick and bass, percussion, leads and then Atmos, which is then going to a pre-master channel. But at this stage there's nothing in there that actually makes noise. So the first thing to do is load up something that makes a sound. Here I have kick 2. I'm going to load up one of my kicks. Now let's put a constant note on C3, play that back, and we have a single kick. Obviously, normally what you would do is you would put 4 here and you have the 4 on the floor pattern, nothing exciting. However, if we do one constant note and then we go up to MIDI and then we add the ARP, play this back and turn this down to 1/4, we're back to where we were. So that, when it loops around, is perfectly in time. So one option then is to leave the rate BPM synced, and then you can change that. However, it does jump, as you can see. It's not really as smooth as I would like it. So to that end, let's leave it on 1/4. Then go and find what your project tempo equates to in milliseconds. So here this project is 150, so 1/4 note is 400 milliseconds. If we go back to the project now, and then if we turn off sync, so now it's on free, and then we enter the 400 milliseconds, we should be exactly where we started. Perfect. And now the fun begins. Let's just make this 2 bars. Let's extend that again, and then we go to envelopes, arpeggiator, and then we need to find the free rate, which is here, and then we simply draw in the roll that we want. At the moment this was just done completely randomly, but if you want to be precise, you just need to use divisions of this multiple here. So we said it was 400 for 1/4, so that means it'd be 200 for 1/8 note. So if we enter here, we do edit value. Let's do this one at 200. Let's delete this one again. So now we should go from, actually I'll do it at this point here. I'll go directly down to 200. And you'll hear the first bar will be 1/4 note, and then it will go to 1/8 in the second bar. Or we can go, let's take that further, let's take this one over here to 200, and then we need to take this one down to 100 if we're going for 16ths. And then similarly, if we go to 1/32, this will be 50. So it does work very well for fixed intervals like that. Or like I did at the start, you can have kind of a ramp up or ramp down pattern like this. The other option is to add a sampler track. Let's do the same. Let's copy that MIDI over. So we have a 2-bar note. Then we need to render out one kick from kick 2. But the critical part is it needs to be exactly 1/4 note long. So that's why, so obviously most people know that within kick 2, you can go to the render button and then it will render out this kick in wave format, which is perfectly good. It's a very handy feature. But the problem with that in this instance is that it does it precisely at the length of the kick. It doesn't do it at the 1/4 note that we need. Plus also I'm trying to be universal with application, so it's applicable for when you're not using kick 2. So let's export the clip. We want kick 2, 1, and then the render length we want to be 1/4 note. Then we drag that into the sampler like I've done here, and if we solo this back now, then we can also grab this arpeggiator and put it on beforehand, enter 1/4 note, and this should be exactly the way we had it earlier. Perfect, sounds exactly the same. So delete the up, and then what we can do is now if we do sustain mode, this means it will repeat at the end of the cycle. So because we did it exactly 1/4, again it should be exactly the same. Perfect. So now what happens is, if we drag back the loop end, listen to what happens. It's basically the same effect. So then we need to automate that, obviously. So what we would need to do is go into the envelopes here, and ideally what you would do is you would select the sampler, and then you would automate it here. You would find the parameter loop end in this list. However, Ableton doesn't provide it. But there is a workaround, and that is go back to sampler, then on the MIDI, go down to mod wheel, and then you choose loop length. You can either do positive or negative here for the depth. I like to do negative for a reason I'll show you in a second. And now if we find our mod wheel here, so it's under MIDI control and then modulation wheel. And now if we play this back, exactly the same until we then modulate this parameter. So let's turn this up. So by turning it up here, it decreases the loop length so that we have that kick roll and we can draw it in as we see fit. The reason why I said to do a negative is because then you have a positive ramp up here when you increase the speed of the roll. If you had it as a positive modulation value, then you would need to have this maxed and then you turn it down. It's exactly the same result, but logically to me, having no effect should be 0 and then you turn it up. So they both work just as well as each other. Sometimes, however, I feel that one method is smoother over the other, so it's good to have a backup just in case one isn't working. The quickest approach is the ARP method, like I mentioned at the start, but sometimes it isn't really that smooth, whereas I find the sampler method much cleaner and much smoother. Just make sure though that your parameters are in multiples of 128. And by that I mean if you want it to be precise, so if you want the end to roll off steadily, then you would do 64 here. Or if you want to go faster, it would be, what would it be, 96? So yeah, there you go, just a nice, quick and easy one this week. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.